Now, countries are rejigging policies, including economic stimulus, to curtail the effects of the coronavirus pandemic. The Nigerian government, of course, is not left out of this in an attempt to insulate as many people as possible from the economic effects of the pandemic with a number of stimuli. However, as good as these stimuli might be, they could unintentionally be responsible for taking money away from people. The Pension Reform Act provides that an employee that is yet to reach a retirement age or below 50 years cannot withdraw from his or her retirement savings. Also, an employee who is unable to find another job for 4 months of disengagement from a previous one, that is, and other exemptions as prescribed in Section 7, subsection 2 of the Act, may have access to up to 25% of his or her total retirement savings. Now, the conditions for the withdrawal must now be made more flexible, and greater opportunity must be provided for voluntary access to 25% of the fund by any contributor that wishes to have part of his or her savings in order to be able to deal with the fallouts of COVID-19, some analysts are saying. So for a chat on that, we're now being joined by Dr. Olusegun Vincent, a senior lecturer at the Pan-Atlantic University here in Lagos. Welcome to the program, Dr. Vincent. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thanks
Dr.
for having
Vincent.
me.
Good morning. Well, I'm sure you listened to Leila's introduction. Many analysts are calling.
I did.
Yes, many commentators are calling for a review of Section 16 of the Pension Act of 2014 to allow individuals in the face of COVID-19 to make withdrawals up to 25%. Now, the whole idea of that contributory pension scheme in that act is to allow people to save for the rainy day. Now, if people are now allowed to withdraw 25%, is that not counterproductive? Is it not better to leave so that we can survive another day? Don't you find that proposal contradictory? Because those who argue say it will stimulate demand and help economic recovery. That's the demand side. How about the supply side? What do you think?
Thank you very much. The basis for allowing every employee to withdraw 25% is simply because of the current situation. It's just, current situation could be equated to the war situation where other available approaches or policies should be implemented. You have to live for now to talk about future. Future, you don't bother about future when you are not having sustenance or living for now. And on the basis of that, we are advocating that the pension reform, the Pension Act should be revisited and allow every contributor to voluntarily underline, have access to 25% of whatever they might have contributed. We are not saying you should take the entire money, but you need to survive for now. We have seen instances in course of processing your allowance, even after requirement, before you have access to your money or money contributed. People drop dead before even having the money. But what we are saying now is that let me have 25% of my money and later I contribute more. And if I don't have any opportunity to contribute more, I have to live for now because I need to spend to get out of recession or to get out of the current situation.
Thank you, Dr. Vincent, for that initial analysis. Let me ask you, because many people believe that our PSAs are losing value, as many funds have a rate of return less than inflation, and the Naira valuation, of course, has also reduced the value. Do you think that people should be allowed to choose what investments they want, rather than putting money or being made to put money into a PSA? What is your take on that?
I think everything about the Pension Act is in order. The way they structure the investment, the way the fund distributed over different portfolio has been very fantastic. And I don't think people should be allowed to have a choice in deciding what investment portfolio the fund should go into. Otherwise, it will be very difficult to manage. But what we are saying is that from the total fund contributed, let people have part of it to survive for now. But as it is, and the way it is structured, it's been well managed. We have to give it to those who actually laid foundation for the Pension Act, well thought of, and the management has been fantastic. But we have a peculiar situation. That is why we are advocating that the contributors should be allowed voluntarily to have 25% of the total fund contributed so far.
Well, under the retirement savings account, that account covers mainly persons who are in the formal sector. And you know, of course, it's not everybody in the formal sector that is fully captured, maybe about 8.41 million Nigerians. Now, what happens? I'm trying to follow your argument. To those persons that are not within the formal sector, who are not part of any retirement savings account, and who are also facing this COVID-19 and the likely fact of a recession within the economy. What will you say should be provided for them in a situation, in a country where there is no social security system and there is no credit system, as it were?
We've read from different sources that there have been various palliatives, that people at the bottom of the pyramid, the poorest of the poor, are being provided some palliative. But what we are now saying is that people who have been paying tax, for people who have been contributing to pension fund, where do you want to place them? Government has taken care of, so to say, according to them, which I don't think that has been thoroughly done. And there have been a lot of controversy and issues around the transparency around that. Let us assume that people at the bottom of the pyramid have been taken care of. What about people who have been contributing to pay as you earn, to different state governments, even to federal government, in case of the employees in Abuja? We have to take care of those people. Industry too has been taken care of in form of various palliative from federal government through CBN and other development banks. And it's just natural that you don't leave people who have been contributing, who have been paying tax. You don't leave them in the rain. You have to take care of them and allow them to have access to their money. You are not even taking care of them. They are simply drawing from what they have contributed over years. And that will relieve government of thinking about the kind of palliative that should be given to such set of people. And moreover, when you are taking care of this category of people, you are reflating the economy, the spending. You are spending out of recession. Because whenever there is recession, household must spend, government must spend, companies must invest. And as a result, you get out of recession. So for that aspect of household, we can easily take care of few millions, about 8 million or more, who are in that particular contribution net. We take care of them to have access to little funds, which is 25%, and reflate the economy by spending. So I think it's just okay for government to look towards that direction, because they said they are taking care of the poor, the poorest of the poor at the bottom of the pyramid. Okay, at the middle of the pyramid, maybe people in formal sector, and top up there, we have industry. They are packaging different stimuli, economic stimuli program for. That is my own view.
Thank you, Dr. Vincent. However, do you think, though, that there are any challenges, maybe any long-term challenges that you can tell us about that we may face with allowing people to access up to 25% from their PSAs? Are there any challenges at all that you can think of, or do you just see it as a no-brainer whatsoever and an option the government should definitely adopt?
We envisage, according to some people, that there could be inflation, because the total contribution within that particular bucket, the value is about 10 trillion. And if we are saying that people should take 25%, we are saying, assuming everybody is taking 25%, that's around 2.5 trillion naira. And you may argue that this may actually increase the level of inflation. But look at the government's budget of 10 trillion. Government is not even able to meet up with its budget as planned. So for 25 million to come into economy is a way of pushing the effect of poor spending from government angle. And as a result, I don't envisage any kind of inflation. And in the long run, we may say employee may be left with little to take care of them at the old age. But the superior argument is that you need to live for now before you talk about future. And the current situation is an abnormal situation, and you have to look for other alternative strategies to take care of the current situation. Like I told you earlier, you need to take care of now before you talk about future. So many employees who have their wives or children in schools, they cannot pay school fees. Some cannot even feed. So what's the essence of keeping money for future when you cannot feed for now? Whatever demerit or whatever downside of that particular proposal, the superior argument is that I need to survive for now to talk before I can talk about future. Thank you.
Well, I mean, I see your argument, and I listened to you very carefully when you were talking about whether there will be inflation or not as a result of taking out 25% out of the total amount that we have in the contributing pension account. Now, is this short-term solution that you keep talking about, will it not derail long-term objectives? And you make it sound as if COVID-19 is a permanent tragedy. Is it not a temporary setback? And shouldn't the long-term objective be the growth of the pensions account, the retirement savings account?
You need short-term and medium-term to happen and be implemented before you talk about long-term objective. In fact, as you are implementing the short-term plan and medium-term plan, you are equally taking care of long-term objective. It's everybody's prayer to live for a very long time. Equally, it's a long-term objective, but you need to live for now too. So short-term objective and medium-term objective will make long-term objectives to happen. So what we are saying is that for now, we need to allow that to happen. And it's an aberration. It's a total deviation from the objective of that fund. We know. But the abnormal situation call for maybe a strategy that would deviate from normal. And that is the reason why we are talking about this. So in the long run, we are looking at a large investment portfolio for employees to have money to take care of them at the old age. But you need the short-term survivor before long-term survivor. That is my own view.
Dr. Vincent, stay with us for just a moment. Let's go on a very quick commercial break, and when we are back, we'll continue this conversation. Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. Dr. Olusegun Vincent, a senior lecturer at Pan Atlantic University in Lagos, is still here with us looking into the Pension Reform Act and his proposal that some people should be able to access up to 25% of their pensions amid the coronavirus pandemic. Dr. Vincent, thank you for staying with us. I had a question for you with regards to what you said before we went on a break, because with those who withdraw from their pensions now, their thoughts that in the long run they could lose out on investments. So would you encourage people, if per se they were allowed to withdraw up to 25%, would you encourage people to then further invest back into their pension funds later in the future? Or do you see that as an opportunity as well for people to maybe invest in other things and take their investments elsewhere, crowdsource funding and sourcing, etc.? What is your take?
Thank you very much. There are alternatives to that, or probably let me suggest one alternative to withdrawal. Or alternatives, as I said, if government lies, government can, of course, cushion the effect, just like in the United States, how the government push money to individuals' accounts to be able to cope with the effect of COVID-19. Or alternatively, in Nigeria, we can allow the contributors to pension fund to leverage on their contribution. How would they do that? You allow them to use the contribution as collateral to take loans from the bank. We can do that. Some have mortgage obligation defaulting. They are defaulting on mortgage obligation because they are on half salary currently, or some are not taking salary at all. Why can't we allow their contribution so far to be used as collateral to take further credit from financial institutions? And this is another way to reflect the economy. In fact, the reason for that proposal is because Nigeria is a cash and carry economy. Assuming credit system is well entrenched in our system in Nigeria, nobody will be looking at the contribution. But in this country, there's no consumer lending. In developed world, in Europe and America, you can use your credit card to enjoy whatever lifestyle within your own range. But in this country, there's nothing like that. There's nothing like credit card. There's nothing like consumer credit. So how do you go about it? You use what you have to get what you want. The only cash you have, or the only near money you have, is the money you have with the pension fund. So allow the money, allow it to be used. That's what we are looking at. Even the future we are talking about, what is the worth of the fund in future? In inflation, considering the level of inflation in Nigeria and considering the level of devaluation of Naira, I can tell you my contribution in 2016, my contribution in 2015, when Naira was around 172 to $1, is probably worth more than what I have currently. At the end of the day, that future we are talking about is very, very uncertain. The worth of your contribution could be at nuisance value, and you just discover that you may not even be able to afford anything. Considering time value of money, assuming I'm allowed to take my money prior to COVID-19 or prior to now, I will have used my money to do better things because it will command value and the quality of things I'll be buying. But currently, the entire money is almost at nuisance value. So those are the things we are looking at, that the future we are talking about indeed might be very, very uncertain, because at that future time we are talking about, nothing says that a dollar to Naira might be 700, 1,000. So at the end of the day, the future may never happen in terms of good living.
Well, Dr. Vincent, you've made a good case for the plight of the Nigerian worker and the need to increase demand, consumer spending, as part of measures for economic recovery. Now, but I would like you to comment in this regard, because you said all of that in the context of COVID-19. Do you think that the easing of the lockdown, particularly for businesses, would help? Because then, people will be able to get back to their work. Businesses will be able to pay salaries. As we have seen in the United States, jobless claims over a period of 10 weeks have gone down by about 4 million, from about 25 million claims to 21. And analysts say that's as a result of the fact that people are going back to work and the economy is recovering. If you recommend the further easing of the lockdown, to what extent should the Nigerian government go?
Absolutely. I will encourage the further easing of the lockdown, because Nigeria is a daily economy. Most people are engaging in informal sector activities in this country, and they earn money on daily basis. I will tell you, the people selling orange, the man selling orange outside there, or the woman selling food outside there, she's making her money on daily basis. She put 10,000 into the stock, and she makes 20,000 a day. She makes 10,000 naira profit on daily basis. And tell me what that will do to the economy. Everybody on daily basis is contributing to the GDP of the nation. And if we have 70% of the workforce in informal sector, it's no brainer that automatically the economy will blossom again, and everything will be looking in the right direction. So we have to come up with strategies to ease the lockdown and allow people to go and work. I can tell you the level at which people are begging for money. This thing has turned everybody to beggars. People have not been begging before. They've turned beggar, and these are people who are managing themselves on a daily basis. A laborer will go to work and will collect 4,000, 5,000 per day, and he will still spend the money. And that cascade to it will cascade to every part of the economy, and it will equally pay his bills. It will be able to pay the children's school fees, and everybody will earn from them, and the spending continues like that. The extent to which government should go is by coming up with different measures and different protective arrangements, which government can actually put outside there for people to obey or comply to, and we start working. Indeed, the hunger is killing people more than COVID-19. The embarrassment people are having as a result of not being able to take care of the family is the psychological impact is more than COVID-19. And where have you confirmed that malaria and other diseases are not killing people more than COVID-19? We've always been living with such things. So we can only come up with measures to actually reduce the risk, and people go back to work.
Thank you, Dr. Vincent. And earlier on the show today, when Dr. Ehekweazu, the DG of the NCDC, joined us on the show, he did say that inevitably the lockdown does have to be eased. So, of course, the only response is to improve public health response. But let me quickly take you back on something with the Pension Act, because it doesn't allow for the pension managers to invest in foreign stock exchanges. And many people would actually prefer that as an option in order to reduce the devaluation of the naira. What is your take on this? Do you think that there should be provisions for people to have investments going into foreign stock exchanges like the New York Stock Exchange or the London?
What you are saying is a possibility. You are trying to hedge the exchange risk, and equally you are trying to hedge against the valuation of the portfolio. But I don't think any nation go outside its shore to invest the pension. I'm not aware to invest the pension fund money somewhere else when your government to actually need the money. What I think is that if some of the commodities investment are properly priced, in other words, inflation impact is taken into so many things we do in Nigeria, we can actually hedge against such things. For instance, look at the portfolio. The return on FGM bond, the larger proportion of that part, the money in the portfolio is on FGM bond, about 70% of that portfolio. And FGM bond is doing average of 10 to 12%, average of 10 to 11%. Inflation rate is doing more than that. And automatically, it doesn't make sense for your return on investment to be below the inflation rate. Therefore, people will be clamoring that we better have other alternative investment window to actually show up the value.
Thank you, Dr. Vincent. Thank you for joining us this morning on The Money Show.